In the heart of Africa, a nation once known for its lush landscapes and vibrant culture, a darkness descended. Rwanda, a name that should evoke beauty, instead became synonymous with an unimaginable horror. Over a mere 100 days, the world witnessed a tragedy of unprecedented scale. This is the story of the Rwandan genocide of 1994. It is a stark reminder of humanity's capacity for cruelty, but more profoundly, it is a testament to the devastating consequences of global indifference. We must confront this history, not to dwell in despair, but to learn from its chilling lessons. The events of those 3 months laid bare the fragility of peace and the destructive power of unchecked hatred. It forces us to ask difficult questions about our collective responsibility. This narrative is a call to remember, to understand, and to act. The seeds of genocide were sown long before 1994, deeply embedded in Rwanda's colonial past. Belgian colonial policies stand as a primary root cause, fundamentally altering the social fabric of the nation. They deliberately favored the Tutsi minority over the Hutu majority. This preferential treatment was not benign, it was a calculated strategy. The Belgians created artificial ethnic divisions where none truly existed before, or at least not in such rigid, antagonistic forms. They imposed a hierarchy, elevating one group above the other. This divide was solidified through the insidious introduction of identity cards. These documents explicitly labeled individuals as Hutu or Tutsi, institutionalizing a distinction that would later be exploited for mass murder. Generations of resentment were fueled by these policies. A volatile environment was meticulously crafted, ripe for exploitation by extremist ideologies. The colonial legacy left a ticking time bomb, waiting for a spark to ignite its destructive potential. This historical manipulation is crucial to understanding the catastrophe that followed. The simmering tensions in Rwanda were exacerbated by a brutal civil war. The Hutu-led government found itself locked in conflict with the Rwandan Patriotic Front, or RPF, a rebel group largely composed of Tutsi exiles. This internal strife pushed the nation closer to the brink. Then, on April 6, 1994, the immediate trigger for the genocide was pulled. The plane carrying President Juvenal Habyarimana, a Hutu, was shot down. This assassination served as the ultimate pretext for the unleashing of an orchestrated wave of violence. Within hours, the meticulously planned extermination campaign began. Extremist Hutu leaders, who had long harbored genocidal intentions, seized this moment. They had prepared for this, laying the groundwork for mass murder with chilling precision. The Interahamwe militias, a Hutu paramilitary organization, were at the forefront of this brutality. They were not rogue elements, they were instruments of a state-sponsored extermination. Their actions were coordinated, systematic, and utterly merciless. The assassination was merely the signal. The machinery of death, already assembled and waiting, sprang into horrifying action. The world would soon witness the speed and efficiency with which human beings could be dehumanized and slaughtered. Over the next 3 months, approximately 100 days, Rwanda descended into an abyss. The scale of the slaughter was almost incomprehensible, a systematic campaign of extermination. Nearly 1 million Tutsis and moderate Hutus were murdered. This was not random violence, it was a meticulously planned genocide. The methods employed were horrifyingly intimate and brutal. Machetes and clubs were the primary weapons, ensuring a personal, agonizing death for the victims. Sexual violence was also a pervasive and deliberate tool of war and genocide. It was used to terrorize, degrade, and destroy the social fabric of communities. The suffering inflicted went far beyond physical wounds. Propaganda played a crucial and insidious role in inciting and coordinating the killings. Radio television Libre des Mille Collines, infamously known as hate radio, broadcast messages of dehumanization and incitement. It demonized Tutsis, portraying them as enemies and cockroaches. This propaganda did more than just spread hatred, it actively coordinated the killings. It broadcast the locations of Tutsis, urged Hutus to participate in the slaughter, and celebrated the atrocities. The airwaves became a weapon of mass destruction. The efficiency of the killing was terrifying, a testament to the depth of the hatred and the effectiveness of the coordination. Entire families, entire villages, were wiped out. The world watched as a nation was torn apart by its own citizens. As the genocide unfolded, the world watched, but the response was tragically inadequate. The international community, despite clear warnings and mounting evidence, failed to intervene effectively. This inaction remains a stain on human history. The United Nations peacekeeping force, UNAMIR, was present in Rwanda. Yet, instead of being reinforced to protect civilians, its mandate was severely restricted, and its numbers were drastically reduced. This decision effectively abandoned the victims to their fate. Western powers, with the capacity to intervene, hesitated. They debated semantics, refusing to use the word genocide for fear of triggering obligations under international law. This moral cowardice cost countless lives. This hesitation was heavily influenced by recent experiences, particularly the disastrous intervention in Somalia. The memory of American casualties in Mogadishu loomed large, paralyzing decision-makers and prioritizing self-preservation over humanitarian duty. The world turned its back on Rwanda. Governments knew what was happening, but chose not to act decisively. This collective failure allowed the slaughter to continue unimpeded, leaving an indelible mark of shame on the global conscience. The cries for help went unanswered, drowned out by political calculations and a lack of moral courage. The silence of the international community was deafening, a complicity born of indifference. This is a truth we must never forget. In July 1994, the genocide finally ended. The Rwandan Patriotic Front, led by Paul Kagame, fought its way across the country, eventually overthrowing the genocidal regime. Their military victory brought an end to the systematic slaughter. But Rwanda was left scarred beyond measure. The landscape was littered with mass graves, silent testaments to the atrocities committed. Millions were displaced, either fleeing their violence or seeking refuge from the aftermath. The pursuit of justice began, albeit slowly and imperfectly. The International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, or ICTR, was established to prosecute those responsible for the genocide. It was a crucial step towards accountability. The ICTR conducted landmark trials, holding high-ranking officials and perpetrators accountable for their crimes. It was the first international tribunal to deliver verdicts for the crime of genocide. Its work was groundbreaking in many respects. Crucially, the ICTR recognized rape as a tool of genocide, a significant legal precedent. This acknowledgement highlighted the systematic nature of sexual violence in the conflict and its devastating impact on victims. While justice was imperfect and many perpetrators escaped, the ICTR's work laid important foundations. It demonstrated that even in the face of unimaginable horror, the international community could, and must, strive for accountability. The Rwandan genocide offers chilling lessons that resonate deeply today. It underscores the profound dangers of silence in the face of injustice. When good people do nothing, evil can flourish unchecked. It reveals the terrifying power of hate speech and propaganda. Words, when weaponized, can incite unimaginable violence and dehumanize entire populations. We must be vigilant against their spread. Most devastatingly, it highlights the catastrophic consequences of inaction. The world's failure to intervene in Rwanda is a stark reminder of our collective responsibility to protect human lives. Never again should such a tragedy unfold while the world stands by. We must promote empathy and understanding, actively countering the narratives of division and hatred. Education about this genocide is not merely an academic exercise, it is a moral imperative. It is about remembering the victims and honoring their lives. This history demands more than just remembrance, it demands action. We must advocate for robust international mechanisms to prevent future atrocities. We must hold our leaders accountable for their responses to humanitarian crises. The legacy of Rwanda compels us to be vigilant, to speak out, and to act. It is a solemn promise to those who perished, and a warning to future generations. We must ensure that "never again" is not just a phrase, but a guiding principle for humanity. Question is, when are we going to remember genocides? When are we going to learn from them? When is enough? In Rwanda, 1 million lives were lost because the world chose silence. The same silence allows genocides to repeat. If this story moved you, share it. Let awareness be our resistance against hatred. Subscribe to the Turkish Odyssey, where we refuse to look away from injustice, because memory is the only path to prevention. Thank you for watching. Peace on earth. See you in the next adventure.